Hello and thank you for joining the midweek edition of Journalist Hangout. I'm Ayodele Zubakun. Today on the program, 36 states sue federal government over non-remittance of $700 million recovered loot into federation accounts. Crisis rocking PDP yet to abate, with Governor Wike insisting on sack of secondos as governors' NEC members rally round the national chairman. And later on the show, Arewa Consultative Forum, ACF, urges federal government to bring repentant Boko Haram insurgents to trial, as ISWAP says no to ceasefire with Nigeria. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Cyril Abaku. So if you're ready, let the hangout start now. Thank you for staying with us. In a crunch economy like ours, every kobo is worth fighting for. Hence, the 36 state governments in Nigeria have jointly sued the federal government at the Supreme Court over alleged non-remittance of over $700 million, which is about 1.8 trillion naira recovered loot into the federation accounts. The state described as illegal and unacceptable diversion of the money into the consolidated revenue account and others not recognized by the Constitution, instead paying them into the federation account. Julie, this is quite technical. Can you take us through this $700 million and the 36 state governors, they've headed to the Supreme Court directly? This is like a constitutional matter, so it will just start and end at the Supreme Court.
Yes, and we've been on this road before. We recall when Governor Fashola and others, Rotimi Amechi, when they also went to court over the excess crude funds in the excess crude account. Governors need all the money they can find now. And the president has come out with bailouts. Bailouts have not solved the problem. You must reinvent governance in your state and ensure that beyond the funds from the distributable revenue coming from the center, that you can find enough funds to run your state. Were we to be in a situation in which maybe in a month there's nothing to share at the center, were oil to climb down to maybe $10 a barrel, for example, what would states be doing? Where would they find the funds? A good number of the states will go bankrupt instantly. So states, a lot of our governors are not doing enough to tap the tremendous potential to make money within their states. So everybody is under pressure now. There's infrastructure deficit all over the place. You go to Ogun State, for example, the old administration left many projects uncompleted. One of those projects is the Ojodu Sango highway. The road passing through from Ojodu somewhere around Meta in Ojodu right up to Sango. It's been abandoned, and there are bridges just left there, and the people are suffering. So states are looking for where they can find money. Even after Ogun State rescoped that project, you know, the current commissioner for works there was the commissioner for works under Ambode. They rescoped the project. Still, they can't find the money to finish it. They still need a little over 20 billion to finish that project. But the funds are not there because there are other projects that are competing for the little funds available for the state. And that is the same problem that we have in other states of the federation.
It's not the way it used to be before.
Yes.
When you have a lot of money to spend.
Because of that, they're under pressure, and they can see that some funds have been recovered from looters. EFCC got the courts to seize funds that were traced to certain individuals. And in some cases, what we actually have is permanent forfeiture, which means Nigeria can use the money the way it deems fit. Now the states are saying, no, those funds ought to be shared between us. What the Constitution says in Section 162 subsection 1 and 162 subsection 10 is that revenues accruing to the Nigerian state shall be shared by the 3 tiers of government. That was this. It was on the same premise that the government was sued during the Jonathan era. But at the end of the day, it was a political solution that was found. Now, this Attorney General is saying, no, this money is saying such recoveries are governed by conflict of laws principles and not local legislation which are given multiple sovereignties, saying that multiple sovereignties are involved because they are governed by conflict of laws principles. They are not going to listen. As far as they are concerned, this money belongs to the Nigerian state. You know, and because it belongs, if you took money, money was seized from Abacha, for example, Abacha loot. They never end.
The famous Abacha loot.
Yes, always coming to us, always coming to our assistance when we need it most. Yes, when we've lost hope that where will money come from, it shows up. It shows up. You know, God bless him where he is. Now,
he kept our money for us.
Now, it's Nigerian funds that we are talking about. It's Nigerian funds. So if you can't then say that, oh, it's for the federal government alone. Of course, you are going to be resisted. The Attorney General should know that it's going to be resisted. Ideally, according to lawyers, because I always like to talk to lawyers before coming on this show. I'm a knowledge hunter. When people say, oh, Jide he talks like he knows everything. I ask lawyers, I ask judges to help me. A time will come when people will know some of the lawyers and judges that I talk to. When that time comes in my book, I'll list them. They are saying that when the AGF was confronted with this situation, it should have gone to the National Assembly and caused an appropriation bill to happen. The National Assembly will have given the go-ahead for this money to be spent on whatever the federal government comes up to. In any case, what the federal government needs to do is, okay, let us have some projects in different parts of the country. That means that money is still being used for the Nigerian people.
Exactly.
It's still being used by the Nigerian state.
Exactly.
If, for example, you have, there are roads, look at the Auchi road, for example, that people are talking about. You could say, okay, go and do this road with it. Go to the
governor cannot fight that.
Yeah?
The governor cannot fight that.
No, because you probably have helped it to solve a problem. You know? So these are the things. They are going to sue you. As I always say on this program, the Attorney General of the Federation is the chief law officer of our country. But he's not a judge, and he's not always right. We have seen cases when the Attorney General went to court and he was defeated. So if they are taking him to court, they are exercising their right.
Cyril, when you look at these disputes, you know, it's it's something that's it's going to be a reference point for future purpose. If you remember the offshore-onshore dichotomy,
yes.
The governors versus the federal government as at that time, and we now have this kind of thing now, $700 million. This is...
So first of all, I'm glad that Oga actually began with the time some governors sued the federal government under Jonathan administration. You've also brought up the question of the littoral states versus the federal government, which was really the onshore after dichotomy issue that arose, I think, sometime 2001 or 2. Now, if you look at the political temperature of the country as at then, it looked as if those litigations were inevitable. But today, we have a federal government that sort of enjoys a cozy relationship with the states. whereby, you know, if you even look at the number of states controlled by the state by the same party as the federal government, so there should be more.
22.
Yeah, so there we would have expected some more understanding, but not when money is involved, you know, because people are going to come out and, you know, we enjoy our relationship with you, but this is something that if you're not willing to play ball, then let's go to court. And I think that, so yes, fine, I mean, you go to court, let that be a precedent, let that be a judicial pronouncement, because obviously the Attorney General is talking about so multiple sovereignties. No matter the number of treaties, advanced treaties, international protocols, whatever Nigeria wants to belong to, if our constitution has a single clause that flies in, that, you know, that is at variance with any obligation you enter into, the local interpretation of our own court will always supersede whatever the federal government has gone to do. Yes. So the law did not envisage that there will be an all-knowing federal government that will know better than everyone else, and that will sign any agreement with anybody that will be binding on all of us, and we can't question it. No, we're in a republic. I mean, this is not just a number of states, or states in the southwest, or states in the southeast. This is all the governors coming together. I mean, you can't. How much do you want to say that this is a politically motivated? You can't say that. So let this matter. Yeah. So let matter be looked upon on its merit. If that money came to the federal government, and exactly what he said was what was on my mind, you can't even be spending money without appropriation. That's even another kettle of fish entirely. So, but it is good. If the AGF allows this case to be mentioned in the court, it's fine. But I think that if he can, it will be good for them to just come back and say, okay, let's look at priority areas. What can we really do? I don't think that the motive of the governor is to either shame the federal government or even prove a point per se. It is to say, why don't you do this thing in a better way? Why do you want to?
You only destroy the money.
Why?
You are pressing it.
You know, so I think that is the real issue. Let us settle this matter amicably, or let's go to public and do, you know, and yes.
I don't even think that the governments or the jurisdictions that helped us to recover looted funds will go to the point of saying, oh, this money should be exclusively spent by the federal government. They do not have that power. All they are after is that it should be judiciously spent. It should not be relooted. That is their own
priority.
Yes, that's their own goal. That it should not be relooted. We've had looted funds relooted. We've had looted funds relooted in our history. Now, what they want is a situation in which even the disbursement, the use of the money, is governed by transparency. And they are proposing that civil society organizations should get involved. They should know, okay, if you say you want to build Lagos Badagry Expressway with it, the civil society organizations must be aware. Let the books be perused by them. Let them be able to see what you are doing, so that everyone can be convinced that this whole thing is governed by transparency. There is not any attempt to steal the looted funds and all that. That's what they are concerned about. Once we can put all those governance models in place, they are happy. That's what they want. They have not said no. States, it should not go to the hands of states. It should not. No one has said that. And it's possible for us to say, okay, gentlemen, having recovered these funds, in order to please our friends who have assisted us to lay our hands on these funds, these are things that we need. These are measures that we put in place to ensure that those monies are not looted. And then at federal level, we have those governance structures in place. At state level, we have those governance structures in place to monitor the projects that we are going to execute with them. And they are saying those projects must be projects that have bearing on the ordinary Nigerian, projects that will be beneficial to the ordinary Nigerian. And of course, infrastructure projects will be beneficial to you and I. So these are the things that should.
I have Ismail calling us from Bida in Niger State. Thank you for staying with us.
Thank you very much, Mr. My namesake, Mr. Yodele.
All right.
I just want to comment on the program. what those governors are actually agitating for is totally, though they are right in one case, but in most of the cases, they are very, very wrong. Because they are going to embezzle the money at the long run. So the federal government to find a modality, if at all they are going to lose the case at the court of law, let's find a modality in which to talk to them, to bring the, the rationality in order to utilize this fund judiciously. Because if it's not properly managed, I'm telling you categorically, it's going to go back to where it comes from. That is, go back to their pocket, and that's the main reason they actually seeking for this money.
Thank you. Thank you.
He assumes that he even assumes that it's only at state level that funds are looted.
Yes, that people don't steal money.
When we are talking about Abacha loot, these are funds that were looted at federal level, not at state level. So to assume that they can't steal money at federal level just shows that
we are
it's only at the federal level they are fighting corruption.
I don't want to say what's because I mean it looks like the thing is not democratized. Abacha had a monopoly of looting. Now, so now it is democracy. So when a democracy, it means people can. So please.
To local government level,
money can be looted at any level.
Any level. Local government level is even worse. Local government level. Those who just pay salary, when they pay salaries, the rest take up with the thing. Thank you for your contribution, Ismail. And if we, at the end of the day, this will teach us a lesson, and we know subsequently when monies like this and everything comes.
Ayo, let's not forget that on this issue, because everybody is looking for money now, inflation has even eroded our salaries.
Honestly,
the bread that I was buying, sliced bread that I was buying for 250 naira the other day, last night I wanted to buy it was 650, and somebody told me today that one that I bought for 650 is actually 700 in his place. Maybe he's living in the hinterland. So this is the thing. Everyone wants money. The states wants money. Remember the case over VAT, for which a judgment...
River State initiated that case.
We don't know how that one will end up, because the debate over who should actually collect VAT has been on for donkey years.
Yes.
So it looks likely now that in the final analysis, that controversy will be laid to rest by the courts.
It's that the federal government or the state government will be allowed to collect their because it's the imbalance.
Because there's consumption tax.
Yes.
Naturally, consumption tax will be handled by the state.
Exactly. Because when you talk about beer now, you talk about Lagos and Abuja, the highest consumer of beer, and these other states that does not allow people to sell beer, he's not able to do that on beer.
Yeah. So I mean, all of these are travesties. Now, again, when we look at the affidavit the governors deposed at the Supreme Court, and the other important ingredient, which Oga was also alluding to, was the fact that the governors have said there must be detailed accounting as to the path these monies are taking. In the first place, these monies came, instead of being channeled to the Federation account, they found their way to the consolidated revenue account.
Which is not known to the Constitution.
Exactly. So, and until today, we have this humongous history and experience, and what will I call it now? We have this encounter with looted funds. It means that even in the next 10, 20 years, we could still be receiving looted funds. Yes. We still don't have best practices. There's no quality control as to when these monies come. How exactly are they channeled? And so this shouldn't just be about governors going to court to say, give us our own share or carry us along. We must now have a mechanism that will enable us to receive monies and disburse them the best way possible. If we lose that,
in a manner that is fair to us.
Yes, if we lose that,
because they were saying something that sometimes the federal government just on its own decides, okay, this state gets this state gets this.
As big brother,
yes,
as big brother, So it is not just about the magnanimity of the federal government. We must have a law actually that clearly stipulates how these monies are moved.
Thank you for staying with us, Samuel. Samuel. Jide, some people will say this is like restructuring through the courts.
The making.
Yes. That when we get this right and these things will be put in place, we know that, look, it will just have a system. We have a system in place.
Whenever the court decides on these two matters, once the final court in the land decides on these two matters, there would be what you call judicial breakthrough for the states. It will be judicial breakthrough for the states because states will now rest, assured that the federal government cannot unilaterally, I'm talking about the first one, that the federal government cannot now unilaterally receive funds meant for everyone and just disburse as it pleases it. That does not sit well in a federal structure. Then the second one, the issue of VAT. So many people on social media, a lot of debates have happened over who should actually receive this income tax. I mean, I say income tax, consumption tax. Now a court has ruled against the federal government. We don't know how that whole matter will end. But whenever it's decided by the final court, of course, everyone will now, one part of restructuring, one part of that restructuring debate will have been resolved. Because it's one of the issues that people...
Yes, exactly.
All right. We'll go on this break. When we come back, we'll talk more. It's still Journalist Hangout. Please stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. It's not yet to Hulu for the embattled national chairman of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, in the battle to keep his seats. The PDP governors are split over the fate of Secondus, hence his legs are shaky. Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike is convinced that Secondus must be sacked or PDP would struggle to record electoral success in 2023 elections. But some governors and members of the PDP National Executive Council, NEC, are struggling to save Secondus from being axed. What is this argument about Secondus not staying to the next convention, Jide? I don't get it.
Well, Wike, Governor Nyesom Wike, does not want Secondus to retain his seat or retain his job as PDP national chairman. Let me say significantly that since 1999, Secondus has been the longest serving PDP national chairman.
Really?
I'm saying it here because I know. Secondus,
I've never checked it out.
no PDP governor has ever survived up to the end of his term.
PDP chairman?
Yes, PDP national chairman. No one ever survived to the end of his term. First term, I'm not even talking about second term. Now, this one is the closest to breaking that jinx. This is the closest to breaking that. You know, we were saying it the other day that PDP changes national chairman like you change diapers. You know? This is the closest. Now they are saying, oh, just to please the hawks within the party, they are saying, okay, don't do convention in late November. Move convention to October. Because the more those people see Secondus, the greater their anger. They are trying to appeal to them. But you can see that even that one has not caused Governor Wike to close his mouth. And at the rate things are going, just look at it, look at the arithmetic in this way. Bukola Saraki does not want Secondus sacked. Atiku does not want Secondus sacked. Tambuwal does not want Secondus sacked. These are the people who came first, second, and third at the last presidential primaries of the party. That should tell you that there is support base. So even if they get their supporters to go with them, how do you unseat Secondus? How do you unseat him if those three individuals who came first, second, third at their presidential primaries rally around him, as they have publicly shown that they don't want him removed from office? So now, the way Governor Wike is going about it is making some people within the PDP to say, look, this is not a one-man party. Why is he insistent on this man leaving? This man has to
be
go
alone on this journey.
No, there are others.
I know, sir.
But is the main, yes, is the face of that. Although I said some time ago that, look, he does not own the Secondus must go copyright. But he is the man with the greatest gravitas amongst the people who want him to leave. So he's showing that now I'm the leader of that group, but he does not own the copyright. So Section 47 subsection 1 of the APC Constitution permits the chairman or any, of the PDP, you know, the PDP Constitution permits the chairman to seek re-election. And the people can stop the chairman from being re-elected are the majority of the delegates. It's not an individual. You are going to eventually turn people against you. You may have good reasons for wanting to kick Secondus into touch, as it is said in football. But if you are going about it this way, ultimately people will think you want to personally hijack the party, turn it to your own personal fiefdom. And people generally don't like, how would I describe it? Authoritarianism, one-man show within a party. People don't like it. I don't think there's a party in Nigeria where you can say, okay, there is one-man show. Talking about the federal level now, there's no such party. You have to get others to reason along with you. Get the people to reason with you. The fear of absolutism and recklessness may ultimately earn a lot of sympathy for Secondus, the rate at which things are going.
So these are people they are helping on doing. Now, we know that. What do you think we can give Wike why is this so vociferous about the removal of Secondus, knowing that Secondus was his own creation too?
Well, you know, politics is an interest war, and you said my people, I don't know them. But what I was going to add to what Oga said earlier, you know, Uche Secondus was PDP chairman in Rivers State for many years, throughout the Peter Odili years, you know.
This same Secondus?
Sure, of course. So he's been there. I think it was one they used to call total chair or something. So this man understands what it means to be a party chairman. The interest wars and things like that. It's not a thought that is strange to him. I doubt it if anyone else had occupied that seat and knowing the sort of thing that was coming against him. Maybe,
and he was acting chairman of the party.
Of course, whether he would have survived it. In fact, he was brought in as an experienced person to be in that place. You know, be able to. Largely, he's a mild-mannered person, so be able to accommodate and tolerate different, diverse interests and diverse tendencies. That's what I was going to use. But now the fact is this: I think it was last week when Governor Wike even showed up for the party's board meeting. He's a member of the BOT, but he normally wouldn't attend the BOT. But that day something happened. You know, the Igbo people say that if you see which animal in the afternoon, he decided to pursue something, or something is pursuing it. Something was actually making him to, and then he went and the things that he was saying.
You can see who's going to say.
Yes. So he has literally owned this war to oust Uche Secondus. But the overdrive in which he has put himself, I think, could become counterproductive. The reality is that if you want to look at how the strategists in the APC used to do these kind of things, they don't fight individuals. it is about structure. It is about people that you can appeal to. So that even when Uche Secondus or whoever leaves office, it won't look as if you are fighting him to put him out. It will be that there was a semblance of legitimacy or popularity in what happened. I think we need to learn that. If we don't do that and we keep, calling one person's name, fighting one person, and it doesn't even bring some kind of enlightenment or civilization to the process. It just looks as if people are quarreling. The PDP, for what it is worth, is arguably the closest we have, in spite of the defections. It's actually the closest we have to an opposition to the APC. And it will pay the party to put its act together, to put its house together, and see how they can mobilize Nigerians to provide the kind of solid opposition that will put the government in the power on its toes, and to reduce itself to a house of cards or house of infighting, house of bickering, house of a house at war, does not help its own cause and does not help Nigerian democracy either. I think it is high time they came together to understand that their purpose and their goal right now shouldn't just be to be. I know what is really happening. 2023 is at stake, and so some people have rumored that this governor wants to be vice president, even if he himself has said that he doesn't have any such ambition. But the reality is that yes, but the way things are going now makes it look as if something else must be at stake that you're fighting for. So I think, if the interest really is to put the party together, appeal to party members and don't make it look like a fight. Yeah, and don't fight.
Samson is calling us from Edo State. Thank you, Samson.
Thank you very much. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening, Samson.
Wike should not take the party as his personal property. He should give room for others. It's not his own private property. That is just my contribution. Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks.
It seems to be the consensus.
Even if you have ambitions to be something in 2023 and beyond, and people are seeing traits of absolutism, one-man show, power drunkenness, they may work against your plan.
Sure.
Because they will be telling themselves that, this person is too overbearing. If we allow him to get there.
If you remember in 2019,
this is what they will do
on
to
the
us.
National Convention, the venue.
Yeah.
Uche Secondus was saying if PDP, if they don't hold it in Port Harcourt, PDP will be.
But that was Wike saying that.
Yeah.
And they allowed him to host it. But his candidate was defeated, So, and it was not, the election was not rigged. It was free and fair election. The matter of strategy coordinated by Governor Benga Daniel, and delivered victory to Atiku, So, it's, I just think that they need to talk to Governor Wike to calm down. The party has already agreed that the next meeting, that the convention should hold in October. That's not a long time. Now, the issue of whether Secondus should lead the party to battle in 2023 is a decision for the majority to make. It's not a decision for one individual. So, all you can do is rally your own supporters, talk to people, let them realize why you think this person is not good enough for that position. But we are not even hearing, they are not talking about why he doesn't want him. I've heard some people say, people defected. A party chairman cannot stop people from defecting. If some governors, that is a decision at the highest level. If some governors feel that APC is the better place to be, there's nothing you say to them. They will make up their mind. They are adults. They will make up their minds and go to that party that they believe is the best place. Look at someone like the governor of Zamfara, for example. He knows that he can never win that election unless he goes to the APC. He cannot win. He knows it in his heart.
He didn't win.
It's a one-party state. He didn't win. He became governor by force majeure. So now he sat back, and we had been saying it a long time ago on this program that the only way he can retain that seat is if he defects.
And he yielded to the advice?
Yes, he probably was watching us. Because we analyzed to him that he cannot win. And that is a fact. It's not hatred.
All the structure, everything, it is APC.
It's not hatred. He's just saying the truth. He's not saying the truth.
Andrew is calling us from London. Thank you for joining us, Andrew.
Hello, Ayo. Good afternoon. Okay.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Olajide and Dave.
Good afternoon, Andrew.
I just wanted to contribute one other back on the general issue on the state affairs.
Okay. Go ahead, please.
I want to believe that if the funds that were recovered are actually whether it's federal state, can these funds actually be, if it's a particular state, that they have a percentage of the that was taken from their state, the local government, can it actually be a percent directly to the state or local government?
Andrew, I'm struggling to just hear you. You can call back. All right, moving on now. To be forgiven or punished is still the raging debates in the country over repentant Boko Haram insurgents as more members of the terrorist group continue to surrender to the Nigerian military. Foremost Northern Group, that's the Arewa Consultative Forum, ACF, has told the federal government to set good example in its fight against insurgency by bringing the repentant Boko Haram members to trial. In a statement, chairman of the forum, that Aldogbe said an apology is not enough to bring the relief to Nigerians and thousands that were killed and maimed by the insurgents. Meanwhile, a faction of the terror group, the Islamic State of West African Province, ISWAP, says no to ceasefire with Nigeria. But first, let's share some visuals where some repentant Boko Haram members are being conveyed to Maiduguri after surrendering.
To jama'a ga sunan kun gansu mota guda uku za a wuce da su Maiduguri sun tuba da fada za a kai su Maiduguri. Boko Haram ne daga Mafa sun tuba Mafa local government area Borno state. Muna fatan Allah ya kara mana zaman lafiya a Borno state. Ga sunan mota uku za a kai su Maiduguri da iyalinsu da abokanansu da dabbobinsu da sunan suna ta gaisawa da mutane. Sunan suna tafiya jama'a ga sunan suna tafiya one by one. Yan Boko Haram ne daga Mafa sun tuba za a kai su Borno state. Kun gan su nan mota guda uku.
But since Sunday we've been saying it that we need to be careful.
Yes,
we need to be careful. And this advice coming from Audugbe, that's Arewa Consultative Forum, I think it makes a lot of sense that you can't just say, yes, forgive and forget. Because people in Borno State right now, people in Maiduguri IDPs right now, they don't have husbands, they don't have wives, and their children are missing. They are still traumatized.
The first person to express concern was the Shehu of Borno. I read a comment on social media where someone was saying some people are not happy that Nigeria is making progress. And the question I asked is, the person who authored this write-up, is he more patriotic? Does he love Nigeria more than Governor Zulum, who is also apprehensive about this matter? Does he love Nigeria more than the Shehu of Borno? The royal father who has seen where we are headed. Does he love Nigeria more than Honorable Satome, who was the head of SEMA in Borno State, who actually received these guys the first time some of them came. And in his very eyes, Satome saw some of them go back into the forest to continue to kill our soldiers.
Not to be trusted.
So how do you then trust such people? You are planning the radicalization program for them. The people that they subjected to a life of misery in the IDPs, to a life of handouts. They can't eat unless they are handed some food rations, little food rations.
Go to their farms to cultivate.
What have we done for those people? There are still more than 20 IDP camps in Borno State. Never mind the fact that the president in June 12, 2020 speech said all the IDPs have returned home. They have not returned home. There is no home that they return to. In Maiduguri alone, there are more than 20 IDP camps. I say that because I go there regularly, and I'm still going next month, by the grace of God. And all the local government headquarters, we still have IDP camps. People are living from hand to mouth, based on the wickedness that these people visited on them. How do you want to reintegrate those people into the society without a well-coordinated program that will ensure that those host communities genuinely receive them? And you have talked about a girl that was rescued from Boko Haram. And after she was thoroughly stigmatized, she went back into Sambisa camp. She went back into Sambisa forest. And of course, we've had even the story of Senator Aliun Dume, the senator who has not been able to go to his hometown, Hambagda, in Goza local government since 2014. He's watching me, he knows I'm not lying. Senator Aliun Dume said a boy who claimed to have repented killed his father, stole his cattle, and went back to the forest. These guys in this age of phones and all that, Android phones and all that, they sit, when they repent, in inverted commas, they then send information to their fellow fighters in the forest. Nobody knows how to handle this situation. Is what is getting the governor of Borno State and other stakeholders to think, what do we do? But if you look closely, the ISWAP, which is the deadly Boko Haram deadly faction, they refuse to surrender. Then these ones that are surrender, the remnants of the Shekau group, what they are doing is, the real fighters, they are refusing to surrender. They are pushing their wives, their children, and other members of their families who are not active fighters. They are pushing those ones to us. Yes. In the past, those guys lived with them, they cooked for them, they did other things for the fighters. But now they are pushing their wives. Can't you see the huge number of women?
That makes sense.
Yes, they are pushing them out. They are reluctant to go and surrender to the troops. Only a few of them actually surrender. That's why you saw very few weapons. And we have said, okay, where are the gun trucks? They cause a lot of damage with gun trucks, with AAs that you used to kill our people. Where are they? They are not surrendering those ones. So what we are saying is, let's be tactical. Let's be careful the way we handle this situation, so that we don't do something that will backfire. This thing has backfired in the past, and they ended up back in the bush. So everyone, at least the people concerned, should now sit down and think, what do we do? You will see some very old people. Those ones that are not active fighters. And bicycles. Yes. So what do we do? And plenty of children and women.
See, what do you make of this situation?
I mean, quite frankly, what
see the boy, little boy. It's not a fighter. And women, plenty of women. That's what they are doing. They're pushing their wives. Go.
So first off, there ought to be a well thought out program. Then if anybody comes and says, I am Boko Haram and I want to surrender, you can't send him back. Take him. I will align my thoughts with that of the Arewa Consultative Forum. Put them on trial. Let them be convicted. If upon conviction, you now want to organize a prison program where they will now be able to, yes, you can do that, yes. But that they will just come and say,
and you integrate them into the system like that,
and then you are.
And you say that they are largely women.
Exactly, and then you say that you are rehabilitating them.
You say that they are largely women.
Then
women and old men, non-fighters.
Exactly. Then in the same community, you have somebody whose house has been burnt, whose farm has been destroyed. The person is grieving and in sorrow.
Yes.
And side by side, the person who committed that havoc on her has been rehabilitated.
Yes, and given a better lease of life.
And will be given scholarship to go to Russia. So this is standing
to injury.
You know, in my local parlance, they will say you are standing goat on my head, something like that. You are turning logic upside down. It should not be. If we like Oga said, if you can't love Nigeria more than this, Governor Zulum has literally put his own life on the line several times.
Of course. Hassan is calling us from Lekki. Thank you for joining us, Hassan.
Everybody.
Good evening, Hassan.
Please, I want to make comments about two issues. About Wike PDP
quickly
and Boko Haram.
Okay.
Go ahead.
First of all, this Boko Haram issue. I see no reason why they should welcome them. Let me tell you one thing. How do we reconcile with the people that were killed? How do we reconcile their mindset? People that were impoverished. And you expect the enemy to come back to their meat and live peacefully? The answer is emphatic no. And do you even know whether these people is a tactical way of getting back to us in the worst manner? Boko Haram knows us, we don't know Boko Haram. And we are not serious people in this country. You can see the warfare, the way they are carrying them. They don't carry IDPs like that.
Right,
we are very, very unserious-minded people in this country. May God help us.
Amen.
And about PDP, okay, please, the way I'm seeing up, we can only think alike when we don't think so much. All the parties, including APC, are standing via the money of government. And Wike is the chief sponsor of PDP. He who pays the piper dictates the tune. Say it loud and clear.
Thank you, Hassan. Thank you, Hassan from Lekki.
So it should be allowed to remove. It will be allowed to remove chairman at will.
Okay, let's still stay with this so-called repentant Boko Haram people. And didn't you made a valid point? Look at the number of women there, and the number of what you confiscated is not commensurate to.
No.
They've gone to army bases, several.
They have more tanks. They have more tanks.
To the extent that they even had to go down.
Boko Haram has APC, armored personnel carrier. They used armored personnel carrier in somewhere in Damboa. Last year, they have armored personnel carrier. They even stole MRAP from us. Let them bring back
all those ones.
When we start seeing those quality weapons, we will know that the end of this war has even come, and we will all jubilate. All these ones are not active fighters. They are pushing women and children to us and saying, "Oh, they surrender." These are not fighters.
They've run out of resources. They've run out of resources, so they say, "Go, you go. Let's
people every day.
To feed them is a problem.
Exactly.
Exactly. You know, they have now been reunited. ISWAP and the whole Shekau group. Now you are going to inflict a big burden on themselves by lying or even all of this.
So let government take that responsibility.
So
go. And
the areas where all this surrendering is happening is these areas that Shekau used to control. Mafa, Konduga, Bama, those areas. Not the Lake Chad, the islands of the Lake Chad where the Albanawi faction has its headquarters. So this is the thing.
These are hangers on.
So we said they don't occupy any territory. Where are these people coming from?
Exactly.
Let's ask that question.
Exactly.
When people lie without even thinking, where are these people coming from? Where were they keeping these people? If they didn't occupy any part of Nigeria, if they are not in control of any
as much as 1,000.
We've been saying that, look, we've been saying for so long that there's a place called Timbuktu Triangle. Boko Haram remains there. we have been saying that the Albanawi faction, they have their base in the islands of Lake Chad. They are still able to plan attacks. They are still able to move, run away, run back to those places.
They are into fish business.
And we are saying they do not occupy any part of Nigeria.
Territory.
Yes. So people will know that.
The big contradiction.
Yes, people will know that these are just lies.
There's so many questions rising from this whole thing. So many questions. So many more questions than even answers.
Do you know the number of Nigerians missing? That Boko Haram would have abducted, that we don't have the database to track.
Certainly.
If you are seeing people just resurfacing.
We still have about 100 Chibok girls.
Resurfacing, people just coming.
We don't know who is where.
We don't have
actually.
a central database, so we don't know who is where. We don't know who. It's just.
Oh, it's a very vast area, so people have their this thing.
As very large ungoverned spaces.
Yes, so they have their bases.
All right, Siri, Abaku, thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you for coming to the rescue. Thank you. And PQ, thank you so much. All right, and that's our package today. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. And don't forget to join us on Journalist Hangout on Sunday from 1:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. for Journalist Hangout on Sunday. We're on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'm Ayodele Uzubakun. Bye for now, and God bless Nigeria.